The gentleman at the foul line is Eddie Hath. Eddie, one of the senior citizens of the Cambridge Springs, Northwest Pennsylvania area. And he normally puts on an exhibition at halftime, and it looks as though we put the whammy on him because no sooner did we get him on a camera, and he's having some problems. But he'll warm up. There it is. The appreciative crowd. They all love Eddie here. Now he's getting hot. He's getting hot. Whoops. You see what I mean? He hardly ever misses. This guy is uncanny. I told our crew at QLN when they first arrived on the scene, Eddie was practicing and they didn't notice him. And I said, hey, get a load of this guy. He very seldom misses. Uh-oh. Oh, dear. Hey, Eddie, let's take a break now. We'll face this camera up here. You do this sort of thing at every halftime of the Alliance College games?
Yes, for a good many years. I've been following Alliance since 45, 46, in the good old days.
You know, there's one thing I think the fans get a charge on it. You can't find anybody to take that two-handed set shot anymore.
No, because that's old-fashioned. Everything is one-handed, but the two-handed set shot is the best from the outside. Under the basket, you'll get killed.
Ed, you've been playing this game of basketball a long time. You played around the Erie area.
Yeah.
The basic difference or differences between the game when you played it, say, in high school and today?
Well, in the old days, you had 6 or 7, 8 men, and we were only allowed 4 fouls, and you had to learn how to play off of the wall. Now, today, they speeded up the game. They cut the size of the basketball 10 or 15% to make it go into the basket easier. Today, they play racehorse basketball because they have enough men on the team. In the old days, when you only had 6 or 7 men and you were subject to 4 calls, you could not play the racehorse game. Yeah. And the baskets were up against the wall, and therefore we had our handicaps.
So if we're up to you, you like the defensive measures of this ball game over the high-scoring contest, huh?
Yes, I really believe that. I can't see the difference between 45 and 40 or 95 and 100. It's only still the 5-point margin.
Yeah.
But the day that they play that type of basketball.
Now, you've got a lot of other sidelines. You've been in Missouri for, I don't know how many years. I know I came through Cambridge one time, and I found myself in need of a ride to Erie.
Yeah.
And you picked me up on Route 19, just north of Cambridge, and gave me a ride to Erie. And that ride, I found out that you were then a masseur at the Erie Y.
No, but yes, I was for years. I worked Miami Beach from 1945 to 73 till my wife died. Ask me about snowbank.
Oh, yes. Eddie just tipped his... He gave me a cue here. He said, ask me about the snowbank. Now, this guy did something this morning, and that was not a unique morning because I understand you do it quite a bit. And what was that act?
Well, I've been taking snow baths since the old McFadden days, and I had 2 of them yesterday, and I had one this morning, 5:15, and it cooled off my temper.
I think we should wind up by letting Eddie throw a couple more shots, and we'll wrap it up like that. See how he can make out. Okay, Ed, let's see how he does this time. There he goes. He hasn't lost the touch. Oh. What do we have to say? You don't have to say a word about this. There he goes. Well, thanks. Hey, thanks a lot, Eddie. Thanks a lot. Let's turn it back now to Bill Shelley at the table.
All right, score 37-27 at halftime. Gannon by 10. As we said early in this... all the way down to 38th Street. So looks like we're going to have a capacity crowd, which will be something to see Northwestern Pennsylvania College basketball.
You know, in the old TV fights that they used to televise, I mean, the old films, they used to bill some of them as the fight of the century. I guess we could paraphrase and state that this is the game of the year as far as our television broadcast is concerned between Gannon and Mercyhurst.
These are the teams that will decide actually the Big Five championship tonight. The Big Five, as most people know, is not an actual conference in the sect that everybody plays each other twice and so on, but the 5 teams in the area do play for a trophy. There is a lot of status, a lot of pride at stake, as well as that trophy, and this game is the one that will determine it because Gannon has won its Big Five battles to date, and so has Mercyhurst.
They met only twice before. That's hard to realize, but Gannon took them both, huh?
That's right. Once in the finals of the Perico Cup tournament, and that was a few years ago, and of course that was not a design game in the sense that it was scheduled, but they both won their opening round games in that tournament and played in the finals. A memorable contest won by Gannon. Last year was another one, overtime, again won by Gannon. So Mercyhurst coming in with 17 victories, only 1 defeat, ranked 10th in the nation, favored tonight to win for the first time, but I think there's going to be so much emotion in this game, Paul, that it's going to be one of those where you drag out the old cliche, the record book doesn't mean very much.
Right, and an advisory for caution, too, because even with Mercyhurst's overpowering record compared to Gannon's, when we televised the Gannon Alliance game from Gannon earlier in the season, Bill, from that time up to the time that we did the return engagement at Cambridge Springs, I saw a tremendous improvement in that Gannon team, particularly under the basket.
That's true. Gannon has played much better of late, and those games, I think, demonstrated that. They lost to Youngstown on their own floor by 1 point. Now, that's another loss on their record, but Youngstown was a heavy favorite going into that game, and they played them even. They went down to Kings last Saturday night and lost there by 3 at the last moments of the game, and Kings was a heavy favorite. Now, you say 2 losses on their record doesn't show. They are 11-8 right now, which is deceiving because they have played extremely well of late. And, of course, that's what the coach's ideal peak at this time of the year, and Gannon is driving. And Mercyhurst, of course, hasn't played badly all season long. Their one loss was to Westminster. That loss came by 2 points in overtime on Westminster's floor. So they, of course, don't really know what it's like to lose, particularly in front of an Erie crowd. And this is, I'd say, an Erie and Erie County, and I guess down in Meadville. And I was talking to somebody today from Corey, Paul, and they said he knew that one of the newspapermen down there said that the Corey contingent was coming up en masse too, and so they're coming in from a long distance. And one thing that this game has been provided with is, for this time of year, excellent, if I can use that term loosely, weather, at least in the sense that there's no snow falling really to deter the people. The only thing that's deterring the crowd from filling this place up right now is the fact that they're all sitting in their cars out there waiting for the other people to get in the parking lot so they can get in and take their turn.
I think I heard you tell Jerry Haggerty that there's a backup outside on Route 8. And did you say it was down to 38?
That's what was one of the reports that I got from somebody coming in, and the reason for that delay in the start of the game is because of that. They want to let everybody that can get in here and get the opportunity, and so they decided to hold the start of tonight's game up to allow more people to get into the place. And pretty soon, looking from this, they're now starting to fill up the end seats down there. They're pretty well on the sides taken, and there aren't that many seats down at the end, of course, and it's not the ideal place, obviously, to view a basketball game from, so those will go last. But now people are getting to the point where they have to fill those in, and they see as they pan the crowd here, you can see, if you look on that picture we have right now, you can see the seats down at the end there where there are just a few people seated now, but you see the crowd as you go through here. You realize that there just isn't going to be much opportunity for anybody else to squeeze in there, and so as a result of that, they're going to have to sit down at the end, and we may well have 4,500, which I understand is the listed capacity for the Fieldhouse, for very long. As soon as I say they get out of those cars.
We usually come on the air about 2 minutes before the buzzer starting the game, no matter which game we're doing. But tonight, talked with Gary, our director for this evening, and we agreed to come on 5 minutes earlier because of the drama that has developed here, because of the large turnout, so we can give you some flavor of what you're seeing right there now. The large crowd on hand for this game of the year as it's being billed in many camps.
Well, certainly, as far as the fans are concerned, it has to be termed that. Obviously, you can see from the turnout, and there are other basketball games being played in the area tonight. There is a good game down in Edinburgh. There is a Section 1 doubleheader down at the auditorium. And so that means that the fans had their opportunities, and in some ways they just simply had to choose. And their choosing would seem to indicate that this is the one that they wanted to go to, indicating the importance that it has. Because Gannon has always been the school that they measure basketball success by in northwestern Pennsylvania, and deservedly so. They have had such excellent teams, and if anybody wants to be considered the king of the hill in northwestern Pennsylvania, then you obviously have to beat Gannon. And so Mercyhurst's 17-1 record to some people is suspect, because they say, well, who have they played? Well, they're going to play Gannon tonight, and how good the Hearst is. The Hearst should not be measured by this one game, nor should Gannon. One game does not determine a season, but obviously a lot of people are going to do that, and that is about what takes place. And we have now the introductions.
Here are your starters for Gannon. At guard, a 6-foot senior from Blainview, New York, number 12, Ed Warner. At guard, at 6-foot senior from Des Moines, Iowa, number 15, Frank Miller. At center, at 6'1", a senior from Erie, Pennsylvania, Joey Blanks. At forward, a 6'6" junior from Brooklyn, Derek Ferguson. At forward, a 6'5" senior from Des Moines, Iowa, number 23, Tony Jones. Coaching, Ed Sparling. Here are your starters for the Hearst. At guard, number 35, a senior from Buffalo, Ed Jones. At guard, at 6'4", a senior from Pittsburgh, number 13, Paul Young. At center, at 6'1", a junior from Buffalo, New York, Bruce the Helicopter Hennings. At forward, a senior from Aliquippa, number 45, John Sweetwater Burrows. At forward, number 31, at 6'3", from Buffalo, Donald Jackson. Coaching, Dick Fox. Your officials tonight, Bob Covert and Bill Parkinson. Please stand for the national anthem.
Bill Nupp just came in and sat down at the media table right next to me, and he confirmed what you suspicioned, and that is that the traffic indeed is still jammed up back down to 38th Street.
So there are going to be a lot of people. I would be surprised if there was some that just turned around and went back, but I think this is the kind of game that a lot of people say, well, I'm going to brave that crowd and get there anyway. But they are crowding as the Golden Knights, and they're wearing golden, as you see there, and trimmed in maroon, the colors of Gannon. And the Lakers, white, trimmed in blue and gold, blue and green, which are the colors of Mercyhurst. And the jump will be between John Burrow, number 45, and Tony Jones, number 23. Those are the two guys that will go up. Gannon 11-8, Mercyhurst 17-1. The tap controlled by Gannon's Frank Miller, number 15. Miller, good outside shooter, penetrating guard if he gets the opportunity. Man-for-man defense, Jones picking him up. Tony Jones to the baseline, shooting good. Gannon 2, Mercyhurst nothing. Tony Jones got the move inside that he wanted. Two Joneses out there, and you'll be hearing a lot from them. Ed on offense right now for Mercyhurst, turning around, banking it through, and it's the Jones boys. 2-2. Tony for Gannon, Ed for Mercyhurst. That's Ed Warner, number 12, a surprise starter. He hasn't been starting lately. He's working with Donald Jackson on him, slips and goes to the floor, but recovers. Into the corner, jump shot there, Ferguson, good! And so Gannon hits their first two shots and leads 4-2. Mercyhurst coming down. That is a man-for-man defense against them. That's Paul Young, operating with Frank Miller guarding him. Wait a minute, let's see. I believe they're back. We'll check that defense. Young over to the other side now has the ball. Looking for somebody, finds Bruce Hennings, number 43. Hennings down the lane, scoops it off to Jones. There's a foul as he starts through. I believe Joe Blanks, number 22. It is. 22, Joe Blanks draws the first foul of the game. 18:53 left to play, and so far, 3 shots up, 3 down. 2 for Gannon, 1 for Mercyhurst. Ed Jones, 35, working on Eddie Warner. Deals it off. Jump shot, good by John Burrow. Number 45, John Burrow ties it at 4. Parkinson, Colbert are the two officials tonight. Frank Miller gets a pick, moves to the baseline, gets the shot, misses. Tap up and through by Tony Jones. 6-4. So far, Gannon's been able to penetrate that man-for-man defense. This is Ed Jones. Donald Jackson, number 31, who's been starting of late over Kevin Bradley. Inside, Ed Jones, good, it's 6-6. And he was fouled. That's Parkinson, you see, giving the call there very emphatically. Derek Ferguson, number 44, drew the personal, second one on Gannon. With 18:10 to go, chance for the first Mercyhurst lead in the game for Ed Jones. Number 35, Jones is 6'1". He's a 180-pound senior from Buffalo, New York. No. Rebound, John Burrow, the Hurst controls. Jackson, Jones. Working on Warner. Back out Jackson. Looks into the corner. Hennings, a whistle inside. Ed Warner called for holding. I believe he held Ed Jones.
Struggle that lasted more.
You desire it, but the very best in cultural and public affairs broadcasting, along with some fine science features, just a whole gamut of alternative broadcasting for this broadcast signal area. Simply send your check to WQLN Television Radio, 8425 Peach Street, Erie, Pennsylvania, 16509.
Ready now for Kennedy Christian's first trip to the plate, and Tom Fury, the left fielder, will be the leadoff man as Rich goes out to talk to Johnston. So it was Carochi, after giving up an infield single in the top half of the first inning, after Smirker sacrificed Rocco to second. Rocco stole third while Rich was striking out. Then he struck out Johnston and got out of trouble. Tom Fury. Now that sounds like a ball player, doesn't it? And he crouches a lot. Good leadoff hitter, and the first pitch skips in the dirt. Johnston, as we said, noted for a fastball. As he called it, a pretty good curve. And he said, I'll throw a few knucklers. And he misses with 2 pitches now, and he's 0-2. 2 balls, no strikes. And so, unlike Carochi, who threw almost exclusively strikes, Johnston having a little trouble locating the strike zone. Bouncer taken, unassisted. Rollins at first base, just picking it up on the easy hop and making the play. And we have one away. Here is Jimmy Joyce, the right fielder. Talk about names. James Joyce. Huh?
How about that? If he ever decides to give up baseball, he could easily become a writer.
I think he could. He could write something like Ulysses if he wanted to. First left-handed batter we've seen here today, and he skips another pitch up there. So Johnston might be having trouble getting loose. But he's wild low. If you're going to be wild, they always say that's the place to be. You don't get in trouble that way. One out, nobody on. Last of the first. Wild high that time. Oh, again, 2 balls, no strikes. 2-0 the count. And the pitch that a lot of hitters like to pick on, because you know he's probably going to groove one here. And Fury picked on it. And this time Joyce just stood and watched as it came over for strike 1. 2 balls, 1 strike. The count on Jimmy Joyce. Jim Keller on deck. Here in the last half of the first inning with no score. McDowell, Kennedy Christian for the District 10 championship and the right to advance to the state tournament. Popped up. And they're 2 down. Tucked away by Smirker. And this brings up Jim Kohler, the number 3 hitter. And again, a lefty. Stocky, as you can see. Looks like he's built for power. He's the first baseman. It skips away from ball 1. So Johnson has been getting consistently behind the batters so far. Here on the first 3 batters, he has opened up by throwing a ball. In fact, he threw balls to the first 2. First 2 were balls, and then he finally threw a strike. And now he gets one, and he just threw smoke that time, the heat. And overpowered Color. 1-1 the count. Again, skipping away from something low inside. 2 balls and a strike. Johnston struggling with his control, but able to dispose of the first 2 batters in rather routine fashion after falling behind. And another looks like routine. Fired across the diamond. And a 1-2-3 inning as White retires Color. 6-3 if you're scoring with us. At the end of 1 full inning of play, the score is McDowell 0, Kennedy Christian 0.
And it'll be interesting to see now if Johnston is able to settle down. He got out of that one without any trouble, although there could have been
out there. We'll just pick them up as they get the ball there. I think we're going to have Watkins from Academy jumping against Hummer from Harbor Creek. Watkins wearing blue, Hummer wearing red. And the tap-off controlled by Walsh at 14, going in and scoring for the county. That's Carol Walsh from Corey, making it 2-0 for the county just like that. And a momentary delay. Let's see what's going on down there. Joe Frasina's talking to somebody down inside. We'll get the city coming back, but that goal certainly does count. They just tapped it to Carol Walsh, and she scored, and here comes the city down. That's Rupaszewski, and the shot from the side right through, and that's Loretta Powell scoring to tie it up. So that's 2-2. It comes out to Smith. Smith wearing number 10. Into the corner to Karen Beardsley. And back out to Walsh. This is Beardsley, number 22. Looking around, looks like a zone defense up against him. From the side, it's Walsh missing, and it up and through inside by Hammer. And so it's 4-2 the county with 7:10 to go, as the ball almost lost on the side and now picked up by Powell, and loose ball and struggle for, and coming out is Walsh, and there's a foul or possibly a traveling call. I can't tell. I think it's a call for traveling as she came out of the pack there. It was a traveling call, and so the ball turned over to the city, and the shot from the side does not go and goes to the floor and is tapped back in, and the loose ball picked up by Rupaszewski. Side to Powell. Powell flipping it up from the side, hits again. So she's hit twice, and it's a 4-4 tie at 6:44. As the ball is lost by Walsh, and it will be a turnover, and the ball will go to the city. Ropashevsky will inbound. Getting it out to Adi Truitt. The pass on the side, and the shot taken on the side does not go by Watkins. And picked off, and Walsh coming down for the County. Carol Walsh of Corey. Working outside. And Carla Smith gets it inside to Nell, and Nell scores. Beth Nell from Fairview puts the County back up 6-4. In the case of the County going ahead and the City playing catch-up. Truitt coming down. Bounce the ball inside. Watkins. No, won't go. Rebound, foul. That's Dobosinski who got the ball off the boards and a foul called. Foul, I believe, was on Beardsley, and the City will be inbounding. In the corner, there's Powell flipping that two-handed shot from there. Doesn't go. Nell clears it off the boards. Beth Nell being triple-teamed now gets it out to Hummer. All the way down to the forecourt it comes to Walsh. Her shot goes, and it's an 8-4 County advantage. This series standing 1-1. City won the first one, County won the second one. So tonight's winner will go in front. Of course, there'll be a most valuable player selected out of this game, as they are in both games. Loose ball to the floor, struggle for it, back out. City still controlling. Flipping it out from long range. And again, Watkins' shot doesn't go. And now Watkins has it off the boards. She puts it up and misses again. Ball to the floor, and Loretta Powell comes up with it, and then she loses it to the floor, and Watkins is down there, and we're going to have a jump ball. Jump ball will sort them out. Karen Watkins of Academy. But before we do that, we're going to have a timeout with the score here. The County 8, the City 4.
Carol Walsh has some nice moves. She
tried a great deal more in this half to get the ball of Scully inside. And you see him starting the second half here as he's going out with Achille and Carter and Krause. And let's see, we'll pick up the other players as we get going here. As the tap-off is controlled by the City, by Krause. To Scully. Inside, the turnaround by Burchard goes home. So Doug Burchard makes a 47-38 City lead, their widest of the night. And the County, which had crawled within 2, is falling steadily behind now, and losing the ball over there is Cogger. That's Cogger in there with Jet and Craig. That's Craig from the side, missing. Rebound to the floor. Carter has it. He gives it out to Krause. Krause will stop and pop and not get home, and that's Scully right there. And that is a lot of what Dan Scully did for Prep, being in the right spot at the right time, making it 49-38. And the flip doesn't go home by Bill Roush, and lost out of bounds by the County. And once more, the City will have possession. So the City coming out and taking charge right at the outset here in the second half. Heavily favored City team, admittedly so. They've got a lot of good ball players out there, and they're starting to make their presence felt. From the side, right home, it goes by Dan Achille. 51-38 now. And the County's still looking for their first points of the second half. Here's Rick Jett trying to get those. He comes in and fires with Rob Carter right on him and doesn't collect. And once more, the City has the ball and coming down. Krause's pass goes inside. Scully gives it off to Carter. Carter's shot doesn't fall to the floor. And Kennedy comes up with it for the County. Giving it off. Almost lost by Jett. He's still holding on to it. And somebody finally goes out to Roush, who's got it cross right on him, and there was a collision as the shot went home by Bill Roush, 51-40. Little off-the-ball contact there that they didn't call. Holding high. And getting inside, and then can't go there, so they'll go back out with it. Burchard, Carter. Carter's turnaround doesn't fall. And it's Kennedy on the boards again. Here's Jett. Jett continuing to control the ball. There's Roush again. Good. And Bill Roush has been piling up the points for the County. Been their most consistent player by far. As Achilles' pass comes down to Burchard. Flipped away. Once more, it's the County, and it's Roush coming down with the ball.
And I believe Rob Carter's going to be called for a little bit too aggressive defense. 51-42. So that's 4 now on Carter. And from outside, Rick Jett scores. And the County, which had fallen well behind, now is starting to come back again, 51-44. Achille, Kraus. Burchard's pass thrown away into the backcourt. As soon as Achille picks it up, it's going to be over and back, and that's exactly what's whistled down by Naz Servideo. So it'll be another turnover, and we have Steve Burchard coming in the ball game. Rob Carter with 4 personals will be protected. So I think for the first time we're going to have both Burchards in the game at the another way.
With us this evening.
So we'll try it again.
Helping us, Western Pennsylvania Boxing Commissioner Joe L. Samarino. Our first bout of the evening, 165-pound novice division. In this corner, in maroon trunks, Darrell Neal. From Erie, in the black trunks, Bill DeSantis.
So these are the participants in a novice bout, which means that they have had no previous experience. Sub-novice, they have had anywhere from 1 to 3 fights, and above that you go into the open classification. Darrell Neal wearing maroon, Bill DeSantis in black. As they get in there, and you see DeSantis flicking out that left jab as he starts off there. And there's Neal with a right hand, another right hand, another left. And he's just throwing lefts and rights coming in from all corners of the place. And DeSantis trying to get back, but DeSantis was shaken up by that Neal. Neal holding those gloves high. DeSantis trying to punch a left through it. As Darrell Neal came in and caught him with 2 good right hands and then followed with a left, and he had DeSantis shaken here early in round 1. Now we understand these are only going to be 2-minute rounds. Now DeSantis coming in with a left of his own, and he was holding ahead a bit there doing it, which is not technically legal. You're not allowed to hold his head when you hit him that way. They're missing punches, and they aren't really landing those. And now DeSantis lands a good right to the body, and Neal counters with a right of his own as they go back to the center of the ring. As we said, these guys waste no time going to work. And you're seeing that right here. A good right hand from Neal, and DeSantis has to cover up and almost went down. Now DeSantis comes out throwing leather, but he cut another right hand. Another right hand from Neal, and DeSantis is hurt. Another right hand, and DeSantis down in the corner, as you can see, and pushed away as Bill DeSantis takes a withering pounding there from Darrell Neal. Is being counted on. There's a mandatory 8 count, and he was on his feet, though, but they ruled him down, counted the mandatory 8 count, and resume. And it's sticking out the left, and no science, as you see. Another right hand, an overhand right from Darrell Neal, catching DeSantis, whose face is crimson now, and some blood flowing from his nose. Darrell Neal, been the aggressor, and he continues to come in, again, trying to set him up with a left and cross that right over, and then just going in and boring in and pounding punches home, and they both clinch and go to the center of the ring. And again, DeSantis backing up, is in the corner, comes out punching, though. They landed most of those on the arms, and he's not hurting Darrell Neal. Neal does not look shaken up at all. DeSantis has taken a punch. A hard right, another hard right. A left comes in, another hard right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rights from Darrell Neal, and I believe, again, they'll be counting, ruling him down as they can in these amateur fights. And now the nose of Bill DeSantis very noticeably bloody as he took a pounding in round 1, Paul.
Darrell Neal, the way I have the bill, is a Meadville lad. The way the sheets are that we have marked, and by the way, we're still looking for that master sheet, but according to my files, he's from Meadville.
You can see in the corner of Bill DeSantis as we get set for round 2. These will be 3 2-minute rounds if they go the distance. And DeSantis is going to have to come back strong if he wants to last the distance. He was down officially twice in round 1. Neal, you see the fighter in maroon with the beard, unmarked. He did most of the leather throwing. A lot of DeSantis' punches did not land, as Neal, holding his arms and gloves high, was able to take most of them on his forearms. As we get set for round 2. And right away, DeSantis sticks out that left hand and scores. Again, he's flicking the jab and moving now, doing a lot more moving than he was earlier. He was standing flat-footed in round 1. Now he's doing a lot of moving and trying to come across, throw out the jab. But again, Neal is going to work. And there's DeSantis with a good right hand. Best punch DeSantis has thrown in the fight.
Crossing the right over, and he's got the nose of Neil slightly bloody now. Now Neil bangs the left and right. Another right hand. DeSantis is hurt again. He's fighting his way out of it, though. Coming out, he takes a right as he does come out. Takes another right, just partially landing, and now a left lands, and DeSantis covers up and tries to come out fighting again. He throws a good right hand, but he catches a left. Another left hook comes in, another right. DeSantis again trying to fight his way out of the corner, and they don't quit in there. And now are separated and go to the center of the ring. Neil got the better of that exchange, no question about it. DeSantis does throw some punches, but they lack the steam that Darrell Neal's been able to throw. Again, DeSantis flicking that jab out, now moving away, but you notice he's not bouncing up and down the way he did before. He's taking some solid punches. His left came around the body and didn't really land. Now Neil goes in, and they'll grab each other's arms a lot and try to hold if they can, but Neil is able to work loose, and DeSantis covering up, taking a lot on his gloves and forearms here, just covering up almost in Muhammad Ali peekaboo, or rope-a-dope style if you prefer. But that time, Neil was able to punch one good right hand in between the parted gloves, bangs another right to the back of the head, another left comes over, and most of his punches are landing on the back of the head. He got a good left hook there to Bill DeSantis, who's taking a pounding now. And it's a question, the referee looking very carefully there, and he might want to separate the two, possibly count or just stop it. DeSantis takes a solid left hand, another solid left hand, and Neil's almost getting arm weary, and the referee just motions him away, and again decides to count. This is the third time he has officially counted over DeSantis, who hasn't touched canvas really yet, and the referee's taking a long look at him, and it's getting to the point where if the pounding continues, this fight will not go the distance. Darrell Neal trying to end it with good lefts and rights, smashing hard. DeSantis fighting back, though, continues to fight back at the bell, ending round 2.
Well, DeSantis used his head that time, Bill, by covering up, and he got a lot of rest seconds in there while the other fellow was flailing away, and I think he got a second breath now, DeSantis has.
Well, often this does happen, Paul, in these amateur fights. The tendency, as we said earlier, is just to come out and throw as many punches as you can, and you'll watch these fighters will start getting arm weary along about the end of round 2 and into round 3. Because sometimes they just tend to punch themselves out, just throwing. Doesn't matter where they land. And you notice in there, Neil was landing on back of the head, top of the head, arms, just about everywhere that was legal. And as a result, he probably is a bit arm weary right now. But you see, Bill DeSantis has taken a pounding. They've been able to stop the blood that was trickling from his nose earlier. DeSantis, as we said, the son of the sports editor of the Erie Times, Frank DeSantis, who's working up at the paper tonight and didn't get a chance to down and see his son fight. So this is the third and the final round. If the fight goes the distance, there'll be 3 2-minute rounds, and DeSantis again moving, sticking and moving. But Neil comes in. There's a right from DeSantis that landed more on the forearm. He just lightly grazed him with the right hand. He's coming back fighting now, but he takes a solid right. And again, Neil goes right to work following up. But Neil lowers his head when he comes in. He doesn't stand back and really pick his punches, you notice. He just sort of lowers his head, charges right in, and just flails away. He's landed a lot of blows, but he would probably be he would be better off if he would stand back and pick his opponent apart. Now he's backing off, and DeSantis again with the blood flowing once more. Going back to work, but again taking a left hand and covering up almost immediately. And you see now Neil is just standing back and possibly getting tired, and DeSantis again tries to fight his way out, but took a low blow. And so the referee now decides to count. And again, this is the 4th time he has counted over DeSantis, who has been counted over. We see Neil over on the other. You can't see it looking at DeSantis and the blood flowing. He just went over and started talking to his seconds. Neil from Meadville. DeSantis is, of course, from Erie. And Neil now trying to punch him and put him away. DeSantis' wild right hand lands, but not too much steam behind it. A solid right and a follow with a left from Neil. Darrell Neal. DeSantis again with a right hand that was caught on the gloves. DeSantis trying to come in straight away punching, but just about more or less trying to fend the man off really now as Neil bores in, catches him with another good left hand. And DeSantis is just totally weary. He goes over and he wants to be counted over. And I don't think they're going to even bother doing that. They say that is enough. And a battered Bill DeSantis being stopped on a TKO by Darrell Neal, the first winner of the night. And if our instructions are correct, this means that Darrell Neal will be going in another fight later on tonight, possibly against Jim Hockenberry from Erie. Here the official decision is coming up.
It's all coming to you from Gannon Auditorium, and Johnny Seaman informs us there'll be approximately 16 bouts, but of course that's a tentative statement, as is evidenced in the first bout.
Rich Bianchi and Tom Duckett will be in the next fight. And here's the decision.
TKO, 137 of the third round, Neal.
Darrell Neal, the winner, 137 of the third round, the official time. Darrell Neal, the winner by technical knockout. The bout stopped. Obviously, DeSantis has just taken a terrific pounding in there. Neal, from the outset, came in and throwing a tremendous amount of punches and landing with a great many of them. Battered him, had him down officially 3 times, officially in the sense that, as we said, DeSantis never touched canvas, but here in the amateur bouts, in the Golden Gloves, they can count if the referee rules that a man has been put in his corner in the point of danger.
Tonight, Mike, a former hockey player and coach, will insert his observations. We'd like to welcome aboard, although it's quite tentative as to which Pennsylvania stations will be airing this at a later date. It is possible that fans in the Allentown, Bethlehem area over the facilities of WLBT and WITF in Hershey, Pennsylvania, along with the possibility of WQED in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, carrying this delayed hockey tape telecast. If so, we welcome all those area fans aboard, and indeed this gives us a chance to reciprocate with WLBT for the constant supply of Lehigh wrestling programs they offer to WQLN, which we air on Saturday nights. Well, Bill Shelley, Mike Geary. Bill, I know you were here this morning. I watched the Soviet team practice. What I saw was discipline, very sequential arrangement, very orderly, and not much levity. It seemed to be all business to me.
Well, that's what they're here for. This is, of course, one of 2 games before they are going to go on to the Olympics. The other one will be against the U.S. Olympic team itself, and that will be played in New York. So to have them here is quite a coup for the Blades. And, of course, I don't think there's ever been a sporting event in Erie history, probably, that has been more on the news pages than on the sports pages than this one here. But nonetheless, it makes its way into the sports scene tonight. And we are going to see, as Mike will point out to you, a team that skates extremely well. Many people say the Blades applied some pressure there. Ooh, it's again you see Norm Laporte in action. That's shot right squarely at him. They seem to depend on quickness a lot more than they do on faking or anything like that.
You see it there again, the shot from the slot again. The man seems to be there all the time, and the Blade players don't seem to be able to pick him up, and that seems to be where all the damage is coming from.
So they continue to fire away in there and make Norm Laporte's night a long one. Exchanging lines here again. Once more, Golikov comes out.
Poulin is back on. He's got a bandage on his forehead.
You might hear the cheer in the background on Poulin. Reines in there facing up with Golikov. There's Daniel with the puck coming on down. Whoops. Flipping it down there a little too far, intended for Jim Cowell.
Got a delayed offside here now, but okay, the Blades brought it out, so they'll wave it off.
All right. Cowell trying to chase it down there. He's in the rate with Kosalatov. Little off balance, Cote. Long range and
good shot by Daniel, a little wide.
Kind of shot you have to take when you're down 4-0 and you don't see the puck down at their end.
Daniel's effective at that range, but he just missed the net that time. There's another score.
Another one.
Number 24. Makarov? How am I doing?
That's Makarov indeed.
That's the longest span of time in which they didn't score tonight.
I think so.
So let's not in there.
You'll see him just pick up the Soviet left winger. The pass is right there, and he just fires it into the zone.
Comes on down. Fakes a fake there.
Pass over. There's the open man.
There it is.
Hit on the short side of Norm Laporte to his right. His stick side.
Right, and Norm was caught a little bit in between there.
Just a little bit.
5-0 now. The Soviets lead their first goal of the second period.
Oh, that was a good chance.
Clark Hamilton. Makarov. Oh,
Mishkin.
It did.
Number 25, Vladimir Golikov.
There
and
it
number
is.
23, Alexander Golikov. Time of the goal, 7:44.
Golikov gets the assist.
Both
on goal by
Golikovs.
Makarov. Yeah, both Golikovs, as a matter of fact.
Playing
He's
well.
also interspersed with those goals some spectacular play, and gets something of an ovation from the fans here. Most of whom have spent most of the game. Really, they haven't had that much to cheer about. There's some oohs and ahs, but not a lot of cheering. Here they come. This might be the last hurrah here. Cote trying to slide it out there, but they can't do it. So the Russians take control and back the other way.
They'll steal you blind, won't they?
That's a machine, Paul.
That's right. Kick your pockets on the way down. Skvotsov trying to come in on
check.
down.
Coming down on 1 minute left.
Down, coming down to that final minute, and a 9-0 game, and Blades trying to get one last rush on before the game expires. And here they come. Hanses.
There's the 1 minute now.
And there's the shot.
Oh,
and close, but not in there. Ronnie Hanses tries to collect it. Cannot. Slid over to him again, though. He can get it out of there. Just flips it in there, hoping to get something. Plant somebody in front of that net and flip it out of there if they can. Clock counting down. Blades trying to put the pressure on. Working out in front. Stockman can't get it. And so the Soviets take it the other way. Moving in for that last time, Petrov.
Put it right in Mark's pads that time.
Play whistled down, and we just got a couple of ticks of the clock left. So we're about to see the end of what has been for many. A few seconds left, and there it is. And the final score, the Soviet national team, the Russian Olympic team, 9. And the Blades, the home side, 0.
Any final observations, Michael?
Just a super Russian team. Just so powerful and so precise, and just a real joy to watch. Blades did themselves well. Too bad they couldn't have got one on the board, but I thought overall they played pretty well, particularly with the goaltenders.
Thanks, Mike. Before wrapping it up again, we repeat thanks to WLKK, General Manager Dave Gifford, for granting us broadcast rights for tonight's contest, and to Nick Polano, General Manager and Coach of the Blades, along with John Paul Della Camera, the voice of the Blades and communications director. He decked out tonight in sartorial splendor. He looked like a million. So until this Saturday, when we'll air Lehigh versus Springfield wrestling, that's Saturday, February 9th at 11. And then come Monday, February 11th at 9 p.m., doubleheader basketball, the women's and the men's game, Barron versus Westminster at the Erie County Fieldhouse. The final score again, the Soviet National Olympic Team 9, the Erie Blades, nothing. Your producer for tonight's Blades and Russian National Olympic Team, yours truly, Paul Brown. Play-by-play, of course, by Bill Shelley. Mike Geary, former player and official, offered some observations. Director Gary Reinbold. On the cameras, Greg Dahlstrand, Paul Reese, and Mike Snow. Unit manager Joyce Lutz. Technical director Dan Swackhammer. Production assistant Joe Michkowski. Technical supervisor Dave McIntyre. Taping by Porter Kendall. The audio, Ed Portzline. So, until our next sportscast this Monday, doubleheader basketball at 9 o'clock, Paul Brown from the Erie County Fieldhouse. So long for now.
Have a real speedster, Brian Laird, deep from Union City, who's a very, very quick young man, and not that much size, but I'll tell you what, he's a threat when he gets the football deep.
He's back there along with Dennis McDonald of Girard. Kick coming up somewhat short, and between them. And that's McDonald. who fights his way to about the 19-yard line. Gang tackle down there.
That's a typical All-Star game mistake, that kind of thing.
Ron Lomax of East led the defensive charge downfield, and the county will set their offense. And, of course, Tony, that is the toughest thing to do in an All-Star game. The few weeks you haven't installed any kind of an offense with these guys coming in from all the different areas and all the different formations that they're used to, and particularly the designations. Chip Nuzzo, number 12, Corey. He was named the top athlete down there. He is the quarterback.
Look for Nuzzo to throw early. He's got a good arm, and I think they're going to go to the air early against the city team.
Pat Herr is the tailback. On first down and 10 from the 19. Long count. It looks like he's going to throw on first down. Nuzzo unloads.
Oh, nice catch.
Beautifully picked off.
Brian Horn.
It was indeed.
Nice job.
Number 25, Brian Horn of Tech. A defensive back who just took it away out on the 48-yard line. So Nuzzo tried to long bomb him on first down and sort of shake up that defense, but it didn't work. They were there and waiting. And now, just like that, the city gets a break.
Look for a large dose of Bujanowski at this point.
Matthew McCormick throwing, first down, he's got a man, hits him down at the 40-yard line.
Mike Mastrog.
It was big Mike Mastrog, and he's a tough man to miss. He's 6'3", and he didn't miss him on the 45. A pick up a 3, it'll be 2nd and 7 for the city. And so both sides show that they might want to play some wide-open football tonight. McCormick with Mastrog in motion, handoff over the middle, and the dive play gains about 3, and that's Bunowski. A strong runner who's been making his mark over the years and now will be making his mark in college. He's 6'2", 200, and he went to McDowell. And Tony, where is he going to college?
He's going to make a young Italian football coach pretty happy. He's going to Mercyhurst.
And that's exactly where he's going. On third down, handoff over the right side. Levon Clark to the 40-yard line, possibly to the 39. And I think we are back here now after we experienced some audio trouble as the city tried for first down and didn't get it. On 4th and just about a foot, they didn't even get that. And so the county has made the big defensive play thus far in the ball game. And, of course, we have very little of the game played thus far. 9:17 left to go first quarter, no score. And the city on 4th down just missed getting that first down. And so the county will take over. They threw on first down the last time they had it, and it was picked off. Again, Herr is the tailback in the eye, and Nuzzo is the quarterback. And this time, hand up to the up man, and he goes forward for some yardage, and that is Richard Barber. Rich Barber from Fairview, and he did some mammoth ball carrying over the last couple of years for that team. And Fairview, of course, is a symbol of football excellence in the county, and he carried it all the way to the 45-yard line. Hand off to the deep man, and he picks up maybe one. Pat Herr, Fort LaBeouf, 165-pound tailback, really didn't get it across the 45 at all. So 3rd down and still about 4 yards to go as the county, after throwing in first down in the first series, now is trying to rely on the ground game. Temporary timeout down in the field. Benny Marchand says it's his time and talking things over there momentarily. We were saying, Tony, that certainly it's difficult. Have you ever coached in one of these All-Star games, by the way, at all?
No, I've coached at some summer camps where there's a similar situation. You have to put in an offense in a week or two, and it's really tough. But there's certain rules that the defense can only stay in one defense and no stunts or blitzes, and that to try to help the offense.
So on 3rd and 4 from the eye, Nuzzo. Now sets up and sends Thomas Woods in motion. And to the right and a loose ball. As Barber rolled, I thought for a moment he might lose the football, but he did not. He just rolled. And it is, again, Richard Barber, 168 pounds, only 5'7". He's that bowling ball type runner.
He's playing out of position because the county was short of fullbacks, so they moved Barber to fullback, and he's going to be a fine young football player too. He's also going to Mercyhurst College.
On the 48-yard line of the city, the county and city territory for the first time. Now Barber has been doing the big gaining thus far. That's the first down for either side. And again, switching again, Woods in motion. Keeping the ball this time, Nuzzo, and he's upended on a good hit down there on the line as he tried to roll along the line and get through, and never did get through.
Looked like Andre Overton made a really nice play from Academy. Came up and stuck Nuzzo pretty good on the line of scrimmage.
So a gain of nothing, really. So it'll be second down, and actually record a bit of a loss. Second down at about 10.5 for the County All-Stars here in the first quarter with no score.
I'd look for a sweep here. I see they have Laird in the backfield from Union City. He likes to run wide.
As Woods goes in motion, right to left. Nuzzo looks like he wants to throw. Does, over the left side. It's going to be picked off again. So he's thrown twice, and twice they have come up with a football the other way. Ron Lomax of East did at that time. Just moved up there and picked the ball off and took it up to around the 49-yard line. So 0 for 2 in the passing department.
Ron Lomax played that ball perfectly, Bill. He broke just perfect on it. It was a nice defensive play.
So the city gets their second opportunity. They had a 4th and inches the first time and couldn't make it. They set up in the eye. McCormick, hands off, right side, not much doing there, and rolled back as he hits the 50-yard line.
Looked like Lavon Clark.
It was Lavon Clark of Tech, 185-pound halfback. Give him a yard forward. Call it second down and 9. The ball right on the midfield stripe, as you can see. No score in the ball game. We have 5:46 left to play here in the first quarter. And off over the left side, and there's even less there as they tried Clark again.
That looked like backfield in motion, Bill, on Lavon Clark. He was a little anxious to get into the hole, and I think he leaned forward.
Of course, this is the where the county rather can't lose in this department.
Right.
They can either take the 5 yards and gamble that they can't make that up, or take the down. And let's see what they do. They've held them twice. That line has surged very nicely up there with good hits, and they decline. Not surprisingly, it's a yard loss. So they're back on the 48-yard line. Third down. And they've got all of the 10 yards to go. And of course, this is what we call an obvious passing down. Matt McCormick from Strong Vincent. Will he throw? He will. He's got a man.
Nice throw.
And he just throws that little slant in pattern, a nice little look in, and coming across was Dana Dobbs of McDowell.
Well, the other way,